That's right. Diabetes and insulin resistance may not only be preventing you from achieving your health goals and effectively losing fat, but they may also be preventing you from achieving your professional goals as well. This is something that I experienced when I was dealing with my pre-diabetes and I was severely overweight, and also something that my clients have experienced as well. Hi, my name is Robert. I work with a lot of busy entrepreneurs and high-end professionals in helping them crush their insulin resistance, lose fat, and repair their energy levels so they can not only have a higher quality of life, but crush their professional and personal goals as well. Now, many of us know about the physical impacts of insulin resistance and diabetes, such as excess body fat gain, hypertension, high cholesterol, numbness in your hands and feet, skin pigmentations and tags. But rarely do people talk about the energy side effects, such as the brain fog and lack of mental clarity, as well as the chronic fatigue. Now, if you're a busy entrepreneur or a high-end professional, this is especially problematic, especially if you have a demanding day-to-day workflow. This was the case for me at my old job. I used to work in project management and IT, and I was constantly in meetings and recording notes and working back and forth with clients all the time. So my level of production was key in order for us to hit certain milestones. And remember, production, all that means is units of output over time. So whatever you're used to producing in terms of output and how quickly you can produce that said unit of output. Your level of output essentially determines your level of performance within your business or within your job. The less you're able to produce, the less valuable you are to your business or your company. Hence why production is very important, is the main metric in which we are judged by. So when I was 270 pounds and pre-diabetic, I was constantly dealing with brain fog and chronic fatigue. And it generally got worse over time as I gained more weight and as my pre-diabetes got worse. Here are the top 3 ways that this affected my productivity and my performance at my old job. The first way insulin resistance and my pre-diabetes affected my professional life was through my body's inability to properly regulate my blood sugar. This led to terrible energy levels throughout the day and a lot of chronic fatigue. I had a bunch of trouble focusing on my projects, and as I gained more weight and as my pre-diabetes got worse, tasks that used to take me 30 to 45 minutes were now taking me 90 minutes. I had to spend more time on tasks to get them done to the quality of what they needed to be done for my job. Now, this is something that my clients have experienced as well, especially business owners and other people who are in high stress professions. They tend to need to take more time in order to do tasks they could do in half the time 5, 10, 15 years ago. This is because your body can't keep up with the demand because it's not metabolically efficient anymore. This is usually due to the insulin-resistant pre-diabetes. Another way my pre-diabetes affected my productivity at work was that as I gained more weight and as my insulin resistance got worse, I gained a lot of tissue around my neck and shoulder area. This was especially problematic when I tried to sleep at night. Why? Because my tissue would collapse on my airway, which would pretty much cut off all the air to the rest of my body, making it exceptionally hard for me to breathe. Because I couldn't breathe, I obviously developed sleep apnea. And this would happen multiple times throughout the night where I'd wake up gasping for air. This made it exceptionally hard for me to get adequate rest at night. As a result, I had to take multiple naps throughout the day, and I was always tired. So not only did I have the chronic fatigue from my body not being able to utilize energy, but also I got terrible sleep at night as well. And this is par the course for people who are obese or morbidly obese, and even people who carry a lot of muscle. They have a lot of tissue around their airway, and it can collapse on it while you're sleeping and thus cause sleep apnea. People live with this for years, and it runs ravage on your heart. For me, I developed left ventricular hypertrophy as a result of this, and it did a lot of damage to my pulmonary system as well. And it got really, really bad, like toward the end of 2019. It didn't really get better until I lost a lot of the weight. Number three, I was hungry all the time. This was another big reason why I wasn't as productive during the day. Because my blood glucose levels were constantly crashing from snacking on junk food all day, this made my body constantly crave more sugar, more food, and more calorie dense crap to eat throughout the day. So I was constantly thinking about food, constantly thinking about what I was going to eat next. And this was incredibly distracting, especially when I needed to get work done, because I would always just sit and think, whenever I had a spare second, think about, what is my next meal going to come from? What can I snack on right now? So I constantly would have to play a game of distracting myself, whether it was work, whether it was, entertainment. I always had to think about, how am I going to distract myself from being so hungry today? And that can be extremely, extremely disruptive if you're trying to be productive throughout the day. Now, this one's probably the most important and probably the most overlooked. And this was my personal relationships. My personal relationships were heavily strained because of my poor health. And I'll tell you how. One, I had gained an excess amount of weight. I was in great shape throughout high school and college, and a lot of the people that knew me prior to that knew me as the person who was that gym rat, constantly in shape, and I had gotten away from that over the years. So I was extremely embarrassed to meet up with old friends, talk to people outside of work because I was embarrassed about the way that I looked. Not only that, when I've worked with other clients who were in even worse states of health, they tend to become burdens on the people that they love, meaning that their significant others always taking them back and forth to the hospital, managing their medications, and honestly trying to manage all the areas of their life. Not only do they become burdens on those people, but the insecurities that they have about the way that they look and their health as a whole starts to weigh on the people around them as well. Now, that can be especially problematic if you're trying to stay productive and focus on the things that you need to in your business or at work. This was the case for me as well because I was always thinking about what people thought of me due to the way that I looked and the poor state of health that I was in. It was another distraction that drew me away from my focus, which was producing at my job. And this can be the case for you as well if you're working on your business or if you're in a high stress profession. I always thought about, man, if I was in great shape and my health was perfect, I wouldn't have this large burden on my shoulders. And sure, I could stop caring what people think, but we're social creatures, and that's always going to be in the back of our minds. And honestly, it can be more of an escape from the issue than actually solving it. So if my thought process was, if I were to solve this issue, how much more productive could I be? And the answer is I was way more productive. After I lost the weight and repaired my health, I didn't have that burden on my shoulders anymore. And I was actually proud of my accomplishment in my personal life and had my health goals that actually made me even more productive on top of repairing my health. I had more energy and I had more mental clarity and focus. That paid dividends for my production because I was even more productive than I was in my earlier 20s when I was in shape. So perhaps you might be in a situation like this. Think about these particular things if you're in a poor state of health and you have a very demanding profession or business that requires a lot of your time and requires you to produce on a daily basis. Not only do you need to think about how your health is affecting your production, but you also need to think about how it's weighing on the people around you. But I hope this video helps you. Like I said earlier, there are a lot of unhealthy people out there in the world today who are struggling, and I don't want you to be one of them. Simple ways that you can fix this is managing your lifestyle better and simply implementing healthier habits. If you need help with this, if you're a busy entrepreneur or high-end professional, follow me on Instagram, go through all my content, as well as on Facebook or TikTok, and DM me if you have any questions, or if you're looking for my help in perhaps implementing more healthy habits into your life going forward. Many of you might resonate with this, especially if you're busy entrepreneurs, high-end professionals. I've worked with a lot of doctors, lawyers, people that own different trucking companies, brick and mortar businesses, and many of them dealt with the same problems that I did. The first thing that you can do to start moving your lifestyle in the right direction is to start doing the things you know that you should be doing, which is minimizing the amount of processed, high calorie, sugary foods that you're eating. Start implementing fasting, sleeping more, getting in more steps. Just doing that in itself will make a massive difference. These were the first steps that I took when I was trying to repair my health and was a big catalyst to me losing almost 90 pounds in 18 months. But if you want to know more about how to do this, go through all my content here on YouTube, as well as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can follow me on any one of those platforms where I detail more about how to crush insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. And you can also feel free to DM me if you have any questions. And if you want my personal help in attacking these issues, DM me the word health, and we can talk more about if you're fit for my program and how I can help you. I appreciate all of you guys, and make sure to follow me on all these other platforms. Talk to you soon.